of the show for today. We're talking to Alana McLaughlin, and she has given us some information in reference to child obesity and substance abuse in a very, very dramatic form and a dramatic fashion. And she has now agreed to continue her discussion in reference to legal and illegal drugs by talking about what she considers to be some of the prescription drugs. Let's talk about, and what would you consider to be some of the prescription drugs?
Now, some of the prescription drugs that we use, one of the most famous ones is painkillers. You use painkillers to stop pain. They give it to you when you're at the hospital when you have pain. They give it to you during childbirth. Now, these painkillers are worse than people expect. Now, before we go into painkillers, I would like to take a few minutes to talk about some of the most famous drugs. Now, on my iPhone here, it says that cocaine is the second most famous drug. Then it talks about maybe ecstasy and heroin and LSDs and PCPs and magic mushrooms and alcohol, basically, which we talked about in the second segment. Now, when you think about all these, you're like, wow, people use these? Yes, they do. Now, these, what I just named, you may have never heard of them, but they are so common, especially now. Let's go back to the first segment if you've just tuned in. In the first segment, I talked about childhood obesity. Now, childhood obesity is just basically now back in the old days when like Henry the Third or Fourth of England, etc. To him, being overweight showed signs of wealth and having money, and nowadays you just get bullied for it. How did all this happen? Now, going back to the drug thing. I have two things that I just recognized. Drugs are most common in Hispanic and African American people more than Caucasians. And now going back to obesity, they're most common in Hispanic and African American children. Now, do you see the significance in that? I want to change that. I want to see charts with. I want nobody to be affected. I don't want people to be affected by this horrible drug. These horrible drugs. I want people to take a stand for it. I want people to stop using all these. So basically, that's my views on these drugs, etc. Now, going into the painkillers segment. When your doctor assigns you painkillers, you think, oh yeah, they'll just stop my pain. But what if you get addicted to that? What if you get addicted to taking these drugs and you can't stop? And then, like I said in the second segment, you spend all your money on that, then you get evicted from your house, and then you have nowhere to go, and your parents disown you because they don't want a druggie, or it was what they call drug addicts, in their home, and then you become homeless, and then your wife divorces you, and she takes the children. Basically, I'm just imagining all this, but this has happened.
That's
you don't want this to happen.
Go on.
Yes. So your life just comes spiraling down to where when you've lost everything, you have no clothes on your back, nowhere to eat, nowhere to go. You think to yourself, how did this all go wrong? drugs. Drugs. That's where it all went wrong, because you were at a party. And your friend said, oh yeah, brah, you should try this new thing. It's called ice, cocaine, or methamphetamine. And so you try it. And you get addicted to it, and you spend all your money on it. And then, your life is just another tragic story of how drugs took over your life. And nobody wants that to happen to them. Well, at least nobody I know, but that's what happens. That's life.
And so, Alana, the drugs that you're mentioning now, and I have to remind our audience that you're in the 5th grade, and the drugs that you're mentioning now, are these drugs well known to some of your peers, some of the people in your grade schools, and et cetera? Are children your age and below